President Donald Trump is really curious about badgers. Like, apparently, insanely curious. At least according to a new book written by Daily Beast reporters Lachlan Markey and Aswin Subasan. Now, this book is called Sinking in the Swamp: How Trump's Minions and Misfits Poison Washington. That actually sounds kind of interesting. Now, apparently, if this book is to be believed, this goes back to 2017, back when Reince Priebus served in Trump's cabinet. Again, this is forever ago. This is like, what is it, chiefs of staff ago? Four? Something like that. Reince Priebus, literally the first one. And the thing I think about when I think of Reince Priebus, by the way, is not because he's got a ridiculous name. Waldorf, I mean, come on. Anyway, no, not about that. But when he was asked by a reporter about Trump if he's putting Bailey's in his cereal yet, I'm pretty sure wherever Reince Priebus is, he is currently eating cereal with Bailey's in it. I'm just saying. So now, look, during that time, though, when he was Donald Trump's chief of staff, Trump would apparently waste time during briefings. These are important briefings, right? About foreign and domestic policy by asking him about badgers. Quote, this is from the book. After Trump was reminded that the short-legged omnivore was practically synonymous with the badger state, he'd make a point of bringing it up at seemingly random occasions to his beleaguered chief of staff. I'm sorry, but oh my God, that's kind of hilarious. All right, so some of the questions that Trump would ask, quote, are they mean to people? Trump at least twice asked Priebus in the opening months of his presidency. Or are they friendly creatures? Are badgers mean? Well, I mean, why don't you look up the honey badger? Honey badger don't care. Honey badger might be a little bit mean, but I'm not sure about regular badgers. Now, the president would also ask if Priebus had any photos of badgers. He could show him. But Donald Trump literally has a cell phone at his fingertips. Why not just look it up on your phone? He doesn't know how. And by the way, the best question here is, how do badgers work? What? Hey, Reince Priebus, are badgers friendly? How do they work? Effing badgers, how do they work? Oh my God, seriously? More. He wanted Reince, resident White House badger historian, apparently, this again, another excerpt from the book, to explain to him Wisconsin's obsession with the animal, how the little critters function and behave, what kind of food they like, and how aggressive or deadly they could be when presented with perceived existential threats. Trump also wanted to know if the badger had personality or if it was boring. You know, boring badgers, right? You don't want that. And what kind of damage could a badger do if to a person with its flashy, sharp claws? You know what? Even if he's messing around, this actually is probably the most intellectual curiosity the president has ever shown, ever, about anything. I mean, it would have been nice. It would have been nice had he actually been this curious about foreign policy. You know, for example, North Korea, right? But no, when he goes into North Korea, he says, I know everything that there is to know. I don't need to know anymore. I don't need you to explain North Korea. I'm going to come in. I'm going to know Kim Jong-un within like 3 seconds of knowing him. I'm going to know exactly. But no, he's going to ask about badgers because, you know, child, baby. It's amazing. Now, another excerpt here. An obviously enthralled president would stare at Priebus as the aide struggled for sufficiently placating answers, as in, He doesn't actually know how to respond, all while gently trying to veer the conversation back to whether we were going to do a troop surge in Afghanistan or undo the ACA, which would have the effect of taking millions of people's insurance away. Because badgers, more important, way more important. No, you know what this sounds like? Bored child, right? So you're trying to get this kid, and again, not to insult children, right? But it's almost like dealing with a child, right? That's just bored. And so you're trying to explain something important, and they're like, what's this do? What about this? I see something over there. What's that do? All while you're trying to explain something. That's what Trump's doing. He's literally so bored with foreign policy and actual important presidential stuff that he's just like shifting the conversation to irrelevant things. Sorry, badgers. Kind of irrelevant when compared to other things. And this is Priebus is basically trying to direct him like, Donnie, okay, Donnie, look, I understand that you like the Badgers, but we need to talk about foreign policy, okay? Yeah, we need to talk about important things, okay? But I want to talk about Badgers. How cool are Badgers? To be fair, it wasn't only about Badgers. He actually asked other questions. According to the book, the president also has a habit of grilling his advisors on other topics of interest to him. At that point, it was Badgers. At another point, it was about space junk. Okay, you know what? That's not so bad. Here's some of the questions that he asked. Where does it go? Where does it crash to Earth? What exactly is up there circling the globe? Who or what is creating all this space garbage? Is this a national security threat? Actually, you know what? That last question, at least it's a good question, even if it's something that you can easily find out, right? So look, these are decent questions if you're a sixth grader, but still decent questions, right? At least they're somewhat smart. At least they're somewhat related to something important, because there is an issue with space junk, right? There's a lot of it that's still in orbit, and sometimes it does even cause problems for astronauts or equipment. And so, look, that's important, right? And it's more relevant policy-wise than asking about Badgers. Just because you're from the Badger state. Sorry, Badgers. Well, no matter how you look at it, though, I think it's obvious that this is childlike behavior. Not the behavior of a fully functional 70-plus-year-old. And you know what it makes me think? He's losing his mind. He's just losing his mind. It feels like we're in the middle of watching a president and his brain deteriorate in real time. If only there were people around him that would still invoke the 25th Amendment. That ship has sailed a long time ago, right? Donald Trump was either fired, or the people there that could have done the 25th Amendment have quit. So they're fired or quit or just, gone, right? There's nobody around them that's going to hold them accountable anymore. Nobody. Just today, John Kelly came out finally and spoke out against Donald Trump. Finally. What took you so long, John? What took you so long? No, all these people are absolute cowards. And back when it actually counted, they could have actually gotten together and did the 25th Amendment. Look, you would have still had Mike Pence as president, right? Or,
Mike Pounds.
Whatever, right? So, but he didn't. He didn't. They didn't. And now we have a president whose brain is melting before our eyes. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, You know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.